Uh, at 7 o'clock, so we're going to get started with the Wednesday Wind Down webinar with Dan and friends. Thanks everybody for coming and being here. This is a webinar and YouTube show for folks that like to get outdoors. People like to hang out with their friends, maybe have a drink with their friends. COVID makes it a little harder to do it. We're virtual, right? It's funny. It's gotten easier, then it's gotten harder, and then hopefully it gets easier again to get out. Here we are, like, I am so annoyed that I can't go backpacking. If only that was the problem. Yeah, exactly. That's a very privileged problem. I'm Dan Conger. I'm the host of this show. And tonight I'm drinking Maker's Mark. So cheers to you. And Kit's our guest. Would you introduce yourself, Kit?
My name is Kit Davis, and I get to participate tonight, which I'm really excited about. And I'm drinking seltzer water, but I've got bullet bourbon for afterwards.
Okay, perfect. That's our second bourbon we have. I don't have an entire rack of bourbon like Kelly does. Kelly, like, what should I drink tonight? What kind of mood if I am? So
I know. In fact, you hesitate to say what it is that you've actually got because so
So we're going to talk about, you're going to share about one of your trips that you've taken, right?
Yep.
So this is the Yosemite area, but you didn't it wasn't a Half Dome trip, was it? It wasn't a little Yosemite Valley, wasn't a Cathedral Peak. No, it wasn't that, was it? Nope. So tell us.
This is a trip that has been kind of in my heart and my head for quite a long time. And it's in the Yosemite High Country. It was out of Tuolumne, which I think I'm looking at everybody on the list. I think y'all know where that is, off the 395. And it's about 9,000 feet where it starts. And I love Tuolumne. This is the first year in close to 20 years that I have not spent a week there over the summertime. Anyway, but this backpack, what I wanted to do is I wanted to link up some of my favorite places. And to do that, about a third or so of it is, or more or less, is off trail. And right. So that was the fun thing. And I could give you the description, point we're going to go this west, but I happen to know that there's a map available.
Do you want to look at a map?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. So here is your map. And so what I did is, when you gave me some pictures with some names, I did my internet CalTopo stalking, and I tried to sleuth out where your route was, and I got it pretty darn close. I think I got it 90% of the way accurate. So
I'd say more than that. The only difference was the pass and how we went around the second lake.
So I've got Tuolumne Meadows here. Mm-hmm. So tell us, which way did you go? Did you go to the east or the west?
All right. Well, first of all, we started north, going pretty much straight north.
Okay.
Past Lempert Dome, and we took a trail to Young Lakes. The trail is roughly 7 miles. It's part of what it is that's so wonderful about this is the views are just incredible. They really, really are. But also to start this out, I need to let you know that we probably picked I just very fortuitously reserved the only window that I think that anybody would have gotten to do such a thing. We were literally between COVID and fires.
Wow.
They closed everything because of COVID. And a week after we left, they closed the national parks because of fires. So we just got very fortunate. That's one of the things that was different. And what was incredibly different about that is, of course, in order to get into the national park, you had to make a reservation.
Right.
And you had to show ID, give up your firstborn, whatever else they asked for to actually get into the park. And you had to have like a special sticker that would go on your car if you were backpacking. We finally did all of that and rolled into Tuolumne. It was completely empty. There's 150 plus campsites. No one.
That was going to be one of the things I was going to ask is Tuolumne, specifically around Tuolumne and some of the High Sierra camps, can be quite congested. There's a lot of density of people, but this would certainly be a awesome reason to avoid that. So,
yes, and going in there, I swear to you, it was like I was a kid at Disneyland. I put that on my, my moments at the very end of this, and it turns out so did Carrie. It was like being in Disneyland with nobody else there, and you could just keep going on the Matterhorn all you wanted.
Cool.
So, we stayed at the backpackers campsite. There were other backpackers, so we did have a little company. But hung out at the river. Did a little wading, did a little sunbathing. It was just decadent. So,
Nice.
All right. So as you can see from the first line there. So let's just get into this.
Yeah. So you hiked on a trail. You did some cross country trailless, and then you picked the trail back up and then loop back down. So
yes.
Your pictures are going to kind of illustrate these, and for everybody that's kind of is not getting a really good shot of this one, I will put a link to my Caltopo map in the show notes, so it'll be on YouTube, so anybody can get to it.
All right, and before we get too far into it, I'd like people to notice that on the broken lines that Dan put in, which is the off trail, you'll notice that it zigzags off to the east. And there's a reason for that. As you'll be able to see when you get a chance to look at it, there's a very deep drainage there. There are a couple of creeks that come in, basically feeding off of Mount Conness. This is Creek.
Where is it?
It's south of that.
South of there. Okay, that's right. It's before you get to Roosevelt. There we go. It was this drainage here. So with these blue lines, these are showing it's lower. So this is 9,000 feet, and this is, 10.5. So it's draining down this way.
Yes.
So that green you said was brutal. There was no way you were getting through that alive.
There's no way. There was no way. You can see the steepness of both sides, so you get cliffed out. And then the vegetation was huge. It was willow trees, giant pines, rocks. It was just not going to happen. So, the other reason why I chose this particular route is it goes past, as you can see if you zoom out a little bit, we'll see. It goes past Mount Conness, which is an incredibly beautiful peak. I've climbed a couple of different of the technical routes, but you can actually climb a non-technical route. It's made of kind of a white granite, and you can literally see it from just about everywhere in Yosemite High Country. It's almost like everything kind of pivots around there. It has tremendous beauty.
Awesome. Very cool.
Okay. So my two companions were Yosina Lisbeck and Carrie Gansert. And the three of us intrepidly, arrived there, played and sunbathed, and then got up the next day and went. The first day was fairly uneventful. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely. I got to learn how to do that.
We're at the right place.
I know. I love it. We are actually at the Tuolumne River, and that's Lambert Dome in the background. Our campsite is not too far away from there. This is decadent. And we actually started kind of late because we were only going 7 miles and it's on a good trail. So we had our coffee sitting on these slabs with our feet in the water, just enjoying the heck.
Nice.
Yes. Now, it goes through, so it goes up, climbs kind of steeply. So we go from 9,000 feet to over 10,000 feet, and then kind of drop up, down, up, down, up, down. But as we hit the higher elevations at about mile 5 or 6, you can go ahead and go to the next. We hit the views. That is what you can see. Is that incredible or what?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What's really interesting about this is if you look above my head, you see those two peaks? Those are Banner and Ritter, Mammoth.
And Mammoth. Okay.
Mammoth. And then, to the right of that, in the far distance, you can see the glaciers of, that's Mount Lyell with Lyell Glacier. And then to the right of it is Mount McClure with the McClure Glacier. But it's just, and we're just seeing a segment of it. That's all the camera can capture.
Nice.
It was just exceptional. And then we finished the day kind of pulling into Young Lakes.
So is that our next one? Is Young Lake? Is that what we got next?
Pretty sure I got a list here.
Yes. Looks like Young Lake.
Yeah. There are 3 Young Lakes. The camping there is incredible. Only a fool would camp down close to the lake because of the mosquitoes. We were up higher in the drier, kind of the rockier, sandier area, perfectly flat, really beautiful. Quick walk to the lake to get water. And it's just exceptional. It's so beautiful. The lower lake is the biggest one, and there's great fishing there. The middle lake is kind of small. It's almost like an intermediate pond. And then the upper lake is a disappearing, it's got like one of those disappearing edges like a pool.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it really is pretty cool. But this is where we end up staying and enjoying the sunset.
I'd love to figure out what the formula is because I have camped near edges of lakes before and not been too buggy. And I think it might have something to do with if it drops off quicker and there's less shallow areas, but if there's more marshy areas, there's going to be more place for mosquitoes. But I, sometimes I'm just happy to find a level camp spot. So
Yeah,
to be that picky is probably too much.
yeah. We can request. As you can see by the topography here, it's in a giant amphitheater, and the lakes are set in, somewhat back from the amphitheater. So all of the lakes have got shallow edges around it, and so therefore mosquitoes. So
Yeah.
that was one of the ones, the highs and lows of the trip. When I asked the two girls, Carrie goes, mosquitoes. It hit her, so I just stood around her, and they didn't get me. That's what friends are for.
Wait, were you covered in DEET or because I don't see a bug net on you?
They really, honestly, there weren't that many, but they just did like Carrie. They loved him. Oh, sorry, Carrie.
Oh, how sad.
All right. Okay. So we can camp on this for just a minute. I need to tell you what it took for us to get to this point. We are now heading toward Lake Roosevelt. This probably took us, this is no more than maybe 2 to 3 miles, maybe 3 miles to get to this point. And it took us over 3 hours because to do that, we had to go from Young Lakes, the lower, up around, we'd taken the topo. If you want, can you go back to the topo? Can you do the back and forth thing, or is that going to be hard?
It's going to be challenging.
Let's not do that then.
Okay.
Let's not do that. I had picked a line when I was putting together how I wanted to do this, and about 10-2, which is where I wanted to kind of stay. And that would keep us above the vegetation, but also there was a thin band of territory that we could go on that was above the vegetation and below the cliffed out rocks. It was very steep.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And so we went, all the way around to do that. And we're fairly successful. But you can see from Mount Conness that there are some drainages coming down, and there are actually 3 or 4 drainages coming down. And we needed to be careful to make sure that we wound our way up the right one. And each drainage you were cliffed out on rock. So it was actually, that was the hardest part of it, or the low point was, I've done this particular, up to this point, I've done this like 3 times prior. This is my 4th shot at it. And I go a different way every single time, and every way is hard. It's just hard.
And that's something we talked about earlier, though. One of the challenges of off-trail travel, right, is that you could read the map and think you're going to go this way, and then get there and then find out what the map wasn't telling you, and your eyes just say, that is not going to work. And
not going to work. And what it's not going to tell you is if you're going to be cliffed out by rock formations. If they're under, 80, 100 feet,
right,
they're not going to show up.
Right. Or if you've got 30-foot boulders, those aren't going to show on the map, and you can't navigate through that.
No, really can't. And so it's spectacularly beautiful. You can see the white granite, and that's not just the picture. This really is this beautiful granite. By the way, the routes that I did, not that you guys need to know, is one of them, the easy one. You can actually do it. People do it as a solo, free solo. Is that long skyline going up. It's very, very easy, and you just kind of paddle your way up there. And then the other way was up the face. Beautiful. And it always gives me good memories, so I'm just camping on that for a moment. So this is Carrie and Yosina. We have finally dragged our miserable bodies out of, being scratched by the bracken and climbing over rocks and all of this. And now we're going to go see Roosevelt Lake. Okay.
Which is... Oh, okay, because Roosevelt Lake showed on the map is quite long and linear, and I can see that this is definitely has some length to it.
Yes, so we are probably about halfway at the end of Roosevelt. I don't think that we included the picture of us eating lunch by Roosevelt.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have that either. Yeah.
No, in fact, I think I couldn't do that one. Yeah. It's super long, super beautiful, and the way that it got its name is Teddy Roosevelt, and I really would love to know how they got here. There's no short way here. There's no easy way here. But Teddy Roosevelt and came here several times to Yosemite. And the last time that he was here, he brought his wife Eleanor with him, and she fell completely in love with this area. I realize it doesn't look like much from this particular picture, but I promise you, it is spectacular. And so she was so enamored of it that they named this lake in her honor.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah. All right. Straight ahead of us is the pass that we're going to need to go up and over.
Oh, so you're gonna climb up probably that center. Well, that's going to be generally the easiest route. So.
Yes, we kind of zigzagged up. There was a trail of sorts, zigzagged up to the top of that. I just was reminded what the name of that pass is. It's called Don't Be a Smarty Pass. So,
nice.
And so we did. It was hard. That was Yosina's like negative was steep and hard. So
yeah. I'm going to use this point. We're at the halfway point. So this is if you've got questions for Kit, please put them in the chat or the Q&A. And this is also a reminder for Kit that we're at the halfway point.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Okay. There we go. There's our lunch picture at Roosevelt.
Oh, apparently I'm fading in and out. Am I?
You were a little light earlier.
All right.
You just got to roll with it.
Okay. Rolling with it. Oh, Roosevelt.
The internet gods.
Yes, they must be crazy. This is looking, we're on the side where the pass is, looking off to the length of Roosevelt Lake. And the wind was blowing quite strongly. And this is where we had lunch. We actually went down to the beach. We're getting our stuff out. And you can see a chair blew over. And had lunch with our feet in the water. So
I want you all to make note of that chair, because I think there's another picture that's coming up that kind of like, chair. Interesting. Okay.
Huh.
Okay. So this looks like you're getting close to the top of the pass.
We are. I took this one, and we're not even at the top of the pass.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. Nope. Getting there though. You can see it is tremendously steep. You can see out in the distance. I think the only thing that I'm going to, so Kness will be to the left. Straight ahead, you see kind of a triangle, like a pyramid kind of a shape. That is actually looking at the backside of Cathedral Peak. So Cathedral Peak from the backside.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool. It'd be interesting to use Peak Finder up on that point and see if you could pick out the peaks. Although I found a lot of times there's a lot of unnamed peaks that just don't show on the backcountry.
Oh, we had a lot of fun with Peak Finder, especially when we got to the top of the pass or as we were coming up to Young Lakes.
Yeah.
And at least in the high country Yosemite, they named pretty much everything. It was
awesome. That's great. That's great.
And then we went over the pass and we discovered that on the other side was snow.
Yeah. Well, now you did not discover this. It was showing on the map. So it was not a complete.
It was just going to be a little tiny bit, and this is July. Like who knows? I mean, it's not like it's a glacier. And it turns out that this is year-round snow, and I hadn't paid close attention to it. And this was Yosina's, this is like her do or die thing, because moving across steep snow, with just poles is not her happy place. And I got to tell you, she's a complete trooper. We made it down safely. No sliding into rocks or anything like that. So, yay.
Well, what's interesting is, I guess it kind of depends on the time of day too. For experienced people, if it's later, it's going to be soft and slushy, which might be fine for coming down. But if it's, too much later or early, it could be really icy. So maybe what was it? Do you want to go up when it's icier or harder and down when it's softer?
Not really, because softer is just the soft top layer. Then you hit the neve snow, the icy stuff underneath it, and you can have some really bad accidents. Mm. Really soft snow on steep terrain is not good for up or down.
Okay.
So when we've done, other more alpine things like Bear Creek, Spire, that one, we started almost in the dark and then used crampons. So we had ice on the way up, you could dig in. And then on the way down, it was already starting to melt a little snow at the top. So we had to actually use ropes to get down.
Wow.
There you go.
You made it. You made it someplace.
Yeah, you can't really see the pass. It's hidden off to the right. But these are some definitely happy campers.
What,
We are
what's
over on top of McCabe Lake, the third McCabe Lake,
okay?
Upper McCabe. And we had dinner, and the weather was perfect. We could see this enormous lake stretching out in front of us, and the sun as it was starting to set. And we're
Awesome.
also, I didn't tell you about this. We were also, I think right before this, we had been laughing about this, but um, Carrie and I, from two different vantage points, as we were setting up our camp on this peninsula that's kind of high up, we noticed something that is a little different. It's taken us almost 2 days to get here, and it will take us 2 days to go out. So we're literally at the midpoint here.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, we see from the far end of McCabe Lake that we are looking at, we see a figure, this guy running. He's a trail runner. I mean, super long, beautiful
Oh,
strides. He's got shorts on. He has got a short sleeve t-shirt. And he's got he's got that vest on that they wear. He's
mm-hmm.
got some water bottles, and the guy is just ripping fast. And so I saw it first, and Carrie was actually on the other side and was able to see more. She was on the side of this peninsula that would look up the drainage that we'd come down. And what the heck? What is he, like from some other place? Because we're the only people at the lake. We can tell that. Where did he come from? And I kept waiting to see him on the other side of the lake, and I never did. That's because Carrie said, yeah, no, he went up the snow.
So not only is he running an ultra, he's doing an ultra that's also off trail.
Yeah, that would be Andrew Skirka. We saw Andrew Skirka. You guys have to look him up. It's
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh. It was the most beautiful thing to watch him run. And he was shirtless. And so that's why Carrie and I are smiling.
Oh.
All right. Next day. Again, off trail. Mm-hmm.
So we noticed the chair in that earlier picture.
Mm-hmm.
I bet the person that had the chair is carrying this pack.
I bet they are.
I bet, because that pack looks enormous for doing off-trail travel. And just so what's kind of funny is, like, on one hand you're like, wow, that's a heavy pack, what's going on? But the other is like, damn, you're a badass. It's like you're going to carry a chair. And I'll sometimes think, do I want to bring an extra pair of socks or no?
No, I have no frills, zero frills, because I'm needy. I don't know that Yosina does have a chair. I can't remember. Sorry, Yo, if she brought it. I have a tendency to think that she did, but maybe not, because it was going to be off trail. Carrie's pack looks really large, which it kind of is, but it's more fluffy. It wasn't particularly heavy. And I have to tell you, she was out in front for most of the backpack. She's a beast. So, which is kind of fun. We had the whole thing, off trail. My goal for doing this, my hope and dream, which I did end up doing, is I wanted to do this without using GPS and waypoints. And
Right. You mentioned that. Yeah.
Yes, that was what I planned it for this. So my tools were going to be, we're not going to get lost, for Pete's sake. It's a fairly circumscribed, you're bounded by rocks and mountains. It's going to be really tough to get really lost. But, pick a line, and you and I were talking about off trail requires so much thinking in a different way when you're backpacking. Right. So my equipment was my altimeter, a compass, and the map. And so That's how especially getting through the drainage. That was hard. That was definitely hard.
Very cool.
And then getting around here, it was just a romp. It was this lovely. It was just beautiful. This is the second lake.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then I lost my clicker. There we go. Oh, nice waterfall.
Oh yeah. A lot happened between that beautiful lake with all that water and this beautiful waterfall with all that water.
You had a big valley that you cruised through, right?
Right. It was about roughly 3 miles cross country to get from the McCabe Lakes to the PCT that we joined up. And it was a little over 7 miles to go south to Glen Allen. Now, those 7 miles were very easy. We went through an enormous meadow. And it was just gorgeous, and the peaks and the rocks and the mountains just keep unfolding on us on both sides. But there was really no water until about
Wow.
mile 5.5. The stream that usually goes down through there was completely dry.
Oh, okay. So it was a dry year. So in a wetter year, there would have been water, or early season there would have been. Okay.
Early season there would have been. This is called Cold Canyon, and it was only cold. There was no water, and I've only been through here several times in this stretch, and I've only seen water there once.
Okay.
So we ended up doing, some pretty interesting shenanigans to get water when we finally did find some. And it was tempting to think, we've only got a mile or two to go, but we were pretty dehydrated.
Yeah.
And we wound up at, go ahead and go back one.
Oh, sorry.
All right. This is the Tuolumne River, and that is literally Tuolumne Falls, the lower falls. If you look up kind of to the left and toward the top of the screen, you can't see it particularly from this angle. I didn't get the good pictures, but you just have to go there.
If you look over there, but you can't see it. Okay.
Yeah, it's up there. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. It's the falls start all the way up where the skyline is, and they just keep rolling and rolling and rolling down.
Okay.
And one of the great things was we swam in that. We swam against the current coming off the falls. We were pulling each other, trying to see how close we can get to it. We had such a good time, just like little kids, just goofing around in the water.
Now, not to put you on the spot here, but I'm pretty sure I saw a picture. Maybe it's a different waterfall, but I'm pretty sure I saw. Maybe it was just you've seen his social media. I thought I saw a clothing optional photo from the back. It may have been a different waterfall, but
yeah.
I looked through the other pictures and I'm like, no, it's just this one. Okay.
Yeah, no. Well, she was pretty casual about it. Yeah, at Young Lakes, there was nobody anywhere. There was no people. Why would you not skinny dip? It was just the best thing ever. Swimming in these lakes.
Nice.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, we got another.
The girls got out of the water before I took this picture.
Okay, we got another couple minutes, so I think we're just about right on time. We got a couple. I think this 2 more slides left, right?
Yep. This I labeled this Lazy Tuolumne River. This is us heading all the way back to Tuolumne Meadows. In front, those little pointy things. Again, that's the backside of Cathedral Peak. That's Fairview Dome, but we don't care. We're just ambling out to get back to camp. And then the last slide. Oh, wait, no, this is Wildcat Point. Oops.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, there's the top of the falls. So that's the top of Tuolumne Falls that we were playing under, and that is called Wildcat Point. That big point there, and you actually can walk up those slabs along the backside and get to the top of it. Which
sounds terrifying.
I have done. No, it's not really. Getting down on it is terrifying.
Okay.
I did that with Peter Levin and my friend Patty Warnick, and then myself did that several years ago.
Then
the label of this one is called The Next Trip. You could see this from quite a few places where we were, and I said, "Okay, girls, that's our next one." And these are girls. There's 2 others that normally we would be hiking together. They could not make it, and so the 5 of us are hoping to plan to do Half Dome starting from Tuolumne Meadows, backpack up the base of it.
Nice.
And then they will go the Caples, and I and my partner will do the climb.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay, that's it.
Awesome. Well, let's see if we had any questions, but if we don't, we want to take another look at the map. Let me check. I don't see any chat. I don't see any questions. We got like about another 2 minutes. So I want to pop back to
do that.
We
did it in basically 3.5 days, and you and I talked about it. It would have to arrange it much differently because the off-trail does not allow places to camp.
Right. So you wouldn't
have to get over the pass.
Right. So it sounds like then the odds of you bringing a novice on this trip are probably slim, right? Because of the off-trail and some of the past stuff.
Yes. The trail portions, I would bring a newbie. It could be their first backpack. It is delightful, easy terrain, trail well kept, obviously well traveled, just not when we were there. And then you hit the off-trail portions, and those were difficult.
So let's just think about a normal year, a non-COVID year. My expectation is that the High Sierra camp right here, Glen Allen and Tuolumne, my expectation that this is front country and this would be moderately busy.
It's in general very busy.
And
They're tucked away. They're wide spaces. You're not as aware as if you were down in the valley. Glen Allen, actually, they were talking about closing it down to give it a little time to regrow. It can be ridiculous. And
wow.
we were literally at Glen Allen. We were one of 3 groups camping there, and they've got room at the backpackers camp for like 150 people.
So I guess it is kind of unique is this one trail up to Young is a dead end, and then this other one up to the other side is a dead end, and you connected it through with a loop. So people that would be going to this lake are just going there, and that's their final destination. They're going to come back out. So there's actually some bonus points in creating a route that connects 2 dead ends together and make your own route. You just have to be ready for some off-trail travel and a pass that might be more challenging. So, yeah. Well, very cool. Well,
Yeah.
we've used up our time, so we're going to call it a night. Kit, I want to thank you for sharing your information. This is fantastic. We appreciate that. Always.
I want you guys to do this. You're going to love it so much.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting is I'm always so focused on week-long trips, week-long. What can I do? Can I do a 7-day? Can I do an 8-day? But I not really think I should be thinking about 3 days and 4-day trips, because that's kind of, it pushes this type of trip out of the way. I wouldn't think of it. So that's very cool.
Yeah, you can pack a lot of bang for your buck in a 3.5-day trip. It felt like a 9-dayer to me.
Yeah.
Just so much was in it. So yeah, good point.
So next week, I'm going to have Jim and Dave on, and we're going to do pack talk. We're going to talk about packs. Talk about, so before we talked about tents that we've owned and what we liked and what we didn't like, and we're going to do the same thing with packs. So you can only get 6 to 9 packs in, which is probably a lot. So we're going to see if we can pick 2 to 3 packs that we've owned or liked and pros and cons of those. So I'm a big Osprey fan, so I currently own two Osprey packs, and I'm trying to think if I've owned a third one. I don't know. I think I have. Anyway, that's where I'll be coming
ULA
from.
girl all the way.
There you go. Okay. So, and I know that Jim and Dave have definitely have had some. Have multiple. They own multiples right now. Just to be clear on that one. Okay. Well, if you want a link to that map, you can look at it on YouTube. You'll find it in there when I get that up sometime tomorrow. So, thanks again. Do appreciate you all. Kit, appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks.
Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you so much. This is so much fun.
All right. Enjoy it too. Bye now.